Brother Muazzam Beg reminds me of a saying that's been attributed to Ali radiallahu anhu, where he said that be like the flower that leaves its fragrance to the hand that crushes it. And wallahi, when I met Muazzam Beg 7 or 8 years ago, he reminded me of that kind of character. He was crushed by the Americans, he's crushed by this government, but his fragrance is everywhere. And that's the fragrance. That is the fragrance of haqq, of truth.
We're outside the Home Office today, and we're here with Cage, and we're demonstrating the release of Muazzam Beg. We're going to get the opinions of people today, because what we want to see is justice. We know the history of Muazzam Beg, where he was unjustly imprisoned and tortured. So what we want to see is justice.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now, the message I have for everybody concerning Muazzam Beg, he was the kind of character that would basically have integrity and compassion. He would help everybody, Muslim and non-Muslim. Everyone who's met him hasn't got a bad thing to say about him. I even remember some of the advice that he would say to me 8 years ago when I used to see him. And Muazzam Beg is like a symbol for justice in a way. And if Muslims and non-Muslims don't call for justice now and actually help Muazzam Beg and what he actually symbolized, then we're doing injustice to ourselves.
First of all, we need to be united. It's not the time for us to be disunited. Even this polarization that is taking place, or the government is trying to push between Muslims and Muslims, should be avoided. The third thing, I advise brothers and sisters to continue giving da'wah, because da'wah is the most worrying thing for those who hate Islam, for the Islamophobic people. Once we give da'wah, people are not just converted to Islam, but people will know the reality of Islam, which leads to the second point. Of course, giving da'wah is part of our deen. ادعو إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة والموعظة الحسنة. Call to the way of your Lord by hikmah and by the best speech.
Well, I think that the most important thing we can do to honor Muazzam is to retain optimism and dignity, and to not feel intimidated. I noticed there were a lot of people here today who do, particularly younger people, they do feel intimidated. They do feel that they are somehow victimized. And I think that Muazzam's work around the world and here in London and in Birmingham has been so much to tell everybody that standing up for justice is what we all have to do. And sometimes it comes with a heavy price, as it has for him, but we have to do it, and doing it as a community and in groups, I think will make people feel positive and less intimidated.
Because wallahi la hawla wa la quwwata illa billah, nothing happens except with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So if you don't call upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how you expect anything to happen? Even when you go ahead and do something, it's not you doing it, it's Allah. So someone like that needs to check their aqidah. Before we go towards working in any cause, dua, dua, dua. The Prophet could have said, Badr or Badr, now is the time for action, now is the time to stand. But la, he spent the entire, Muhammad Rasulullah, he spent the entire night making dua.
I would say what Malcolm X once said, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, a man who stands for nothing will fall for anything. Today, in my view, justice is under attack, not Muazzam Beg. Muazzam Beg is one individual. Here the question is of defending justice. If he goes down, justice goes down with him. So we need to stand for justice. We need to stand for people who uphold justice, who defend justice around the world. And Muazzam Beg is definitely one of them. He is a renowned human rights activist, known for his work, recognized for his sacrifices in this field. So we all need to stand up for him. Whether you're a Muslim or an atheist or a Christian or a Jew or a Hindu, doesn't really matter. You all need to come together and stand for this man, because standing for this man means standing for justice.